Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is actually kind of a special video, I think it is anyway. We're actually out at Lutheran Ridge Cemetery outside of Cary, Ohio, and I brought you guys here today because it feels very nostalgic to me. You guys know I've been doing this investigating thing since I was about 19 or 20 years old, and this was actually one of the first cemeteries I came out to investigate. It's really weird. I have not been out here, I think, since I was 20 or 21. And this is a place we used to come to a lot. We would just come and hang out. There is actually a legend about a gravestone out here, and I will kind of talk to you guys more once we get out of the car. I don't know how much I will be able to talk. I think it's pretty windy today. It's pretty rainy. I might have to do a voiceover, or I might just have to get back in the car and kind of explain what's going on. I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to hear me out here. The vibe out here today, you guys can see the weather. It's kind of like dark and rainy. I do want to get out though and go look at this one gravestone. I remember coming out here before and looking at it, and it's better if you do it at night, but I kind of want to tell you guys the legend while we're out here during the day. Last time we were out here, anytime we've been out here, I have never seen what you're supposed to see on the stone. I don't think I really believe the legend about it. I don't know if I believe the backstory about it either. I have not done any more research into how this woman had passed away, but we're still gonna get out, and I still want to show you guys kind of what's going on out here. The cemetery is on both sides of the road. I haven't been out here, like I said, in about 6 years. There are a lot of new houses around the cemetery, and it's really strange. Before, when I used to come out here, there's like a little farmhouse over here, like an old farmhouse. There's one back here, and I think the rest of the houses around here are newer. There's like 7 or 8 in the area. I remember coming out here before at nighttime, and I was never really worried about, you know, like disturbing people, because a lot of the older farmhouses sit back on old lanes, so they're kind of far back from the road. Now a lot of these houses are right up on the cemetery, and I obviously don't want to feel like I'm disturbing anybody. So it's kind of strange. It's kind of weird being out here and just seeing like all of these new developments go up like around this old ass cemetery. But like I said, it's on both sides of the road. This is on the west side of County Road or Township Road 95, right off of 568. If you guys are coming out here, and this is like the bigger side on the west side of 95, and then the east side of 95 is the smaller side. Now I believe if I remember correctly, the gravestone is over on the west side, and I don't even know if I'm gonna recognize it right when I see it. Like none of these out here look. Oh, I found it. I see it. It's right in the front. Oh, it's so crazy. So I thought that was the tombstone. It is not. That is a different name. I don't know why I recognize it, the name Carruthers. I'm pretty sure that's the name of like a nearby town or something that has something haunted going on. I don't know, just the name saying it. But I'm going to tell you guys the legend actually before we get out of the car, because it is super windy. I just got out and it's freezing, so I'm going to tell you guys now. There is a tombstone for a lady named Mrs. Copley, and it is said at night when you come here and you shine your headlights from your car onto her stone that you will see an image. That image is of her husband strangling her to death. Like I said, I've never seen that image. It seems like very intricate to me, like shining your headlight and you're gonna see her husband strangling her. They say also that this is the second tombstone she's had out here. The first one, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it was like destroyed or somebody messed with it or something like that. So this is the second one that they have out here. It is also said, second part of the legend, that if you come out here and you sit atop her tombstone, that you will be cursed with bad luck. I have never sat on a tombstone. I don't know, I've never done that. So I've used Ouija boards on top of tombstones, but I've never actually sat on one. I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm not gonna do that today. We're just gonna get out and kind of look around and see if I can find her actual tombstone, not the Carruthers one. So yeah, let's get out and do that. Actually, there's like there's a lot of traffic coming down this road now. I'm not sure why. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna like pull over and ask what I'm doing here, or if I need help, because it's windy and rainy and gross. I did actually bring a jacket, thankfully, because of the weather. So I'm gonna get that on and we're gonna hop out, and maybe somebody will come down from one of these houses and talk to me and I can see what I can find out for you guys. But let's get out and kind of look around a little bit. Keep seeing that name everywhere. That right there is the tombstone that I thought it was, but it's not. Where is it? Oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. It used to be right up front, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Very vaguely remember that. How do I know that name? I very vaguely remember. Oh, that word scared me. That it was kind of towards the front because we shined our light on it before. See how broken these are. I can't even read the names on most of these. Alright, I'm gonna look around for a while and put my phone down and see if I can find this grave. I'm gonna see if I can find it. But I'm going to put you guys away for a minute, that way I can kind of focus a little bit and put my other hand in my pocket so I don't freeze. So I will get you guys back out once I find this place. Whew. I just spent probably 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes out here. I can't even talk, I'm so cold. Out here kind of looking for Mrs. Copley. I did not find her, and that name I told you guys earlier that I thought was her, before I went back and kind of read through the legend again, I couldn't exactly remember the last name the first time I read it, but that tombstone that says Carruthers keeps sticking out to me, and I don't know why. There's a lot of graves with that name on the east side of the road, and then on the bigger side, on the west side, is the one where I said, oh my god, I think that's her tomb. It is not her, and I don't know where Mrs. Copley's site is. I cannot find it, and I was walking around kind of like rubbing away at some of the dirt and stuff on these graves, and I could not find her anywhere. And this is the right cemetery, I know it is, so I'm almost wondering if Copley is not her last name, I did not find her anywhere. And I'm almost wondering if the reason I keep saying Carruthers sounds so familiar is if that was really the last name from the legend. Sorry, I'm like trying to warm up while I talk to you guys. So I'm not really sure. What's going on. Like I said, I thoroughly looked through all of these sites here. A lot of the tombstones are broken. A lot of them you can't even read. But like I said, she had a second stone put in. So I was thinking it should be newer. It shouldn't be as weathered as some of the ones put in during the late 1800s. I don't know though. I'm really confused on what's going on. And I'm glad, like I usually say, if I haven't been somewhere in a while or I've never been there, I like going during the day to check things out. And this is a good example, because if it was nighttime and I came here by myself, I would not have been able to find her. It would have taken me probably 2 or 3 times as long to look for her. Still would not have found her. I'm just really confused at this point in time. So I don't really know. I was almost hoping somebody would see me from one of the surrounding homes and come down and like talk to me so we could talk about the legend, but I'm at the right place. I just don't think it's the right name I'm looking for. And I do think that Carruthers would be the last name, but I'm not sure. And now it's starting to rain. I'm just really confused right now. I know I've been out here before and I remember seeing the stone, and I feel like I don't remember the name Copley being on the stone. I feel like I remember it being Carruthers, but it's been like 6 or 7 years, so I don't remember completely. I just don't know. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to like come out and look for her another day. I really think the name is Carruthers, and I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research and potentially talk to some locals to see if they know anything about it. I'm just like really confused. I feel kind of dumb right now because I was like, oh, I know, like I've been out here before. I remember seeing the stone. I remember us shining headlights on the stone before. I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, is it on the east side where there's not as many? Because I almost remember like trying to back our car up. I don't know. I'm just like really confused. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to do more research on this and see if I can find out anything else. For some reason, the name Carruthers just like sticks out to me. And I feel like the lady's last name was not Copley. I really strongly feel like it was Carruthers. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I remember being out here before. I've heard the legend from multiple people. I don't ever remember them saying like the last name of the lady, but I remember when I looked it up online, I just looked it up before I came out here and it was Copley. I knew that was the name I wanted to look for, and it just didn't sound right. So I'm not sure. This is gonna be something we're gonna have to probably come back out again and do after some more research. All right, so I'm back home and I did do some more research after I had gotten back into my car at the cemetery. I did find some stuff that was very interesting. The name that I thought, Copley, is actually correct, and there is a tombstone out there, but I did not see it. There is a picture I found online where the tombstone is, but this picture looks like it was taken in the 80s, so I'm not really sure if this was the old tombstone or the new one that they had replaced it. It basically says the same thing, that the husband's hands are wrapped tightly around the wife's neck. It is a marble tombstone, and since there were so many people going out here before to like shine their headlights on the front of the stone, they had blocked off the road. And there, like I said before, there's no place for you to park. If you were to shine your headlights onto the tombstone, you would be like in the middle of the road. So that is true. And I did find this really interesting story about the curse, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. Like I said, I'm just reading this offline. Somebody else put it up. In 1958, my father, Larry Steinman, and 2 of his high school friends found the tombstone that they had heard talk about, and the real actual pictures were taken that day at Lutheran Ridge Cemetery. In the pictures, if you look at the tombstone on the right, there's a side silhouette view of Diana V. Copley with her husband Irvin Copley on the left side view also. with what looks like his hands around her neck just below her name on the tombstone. That day in 1958, my father and his friend both sat on the tombstone and touched it. Were they cursed? My father's friend, with the last name from what he remembers was Baldwin, was involved in a fatal car accident a month later and died after having his head decapitated. As for my father, he thinks his curse was the past 70 years of his life, filled with greater than normal bad luck that has cursed him from sitting on the Copley tombstone. Growing up, my father always told us kids the story of the Copley tombstone, and we were quick to dismiss it because we always thought he was just trying to scare us. Finally, one day in 1989, we were up around Cary, Ohio visiting family, and we decided to try and find the Copley tombstone. It took most of the day to try to find the cemetery because it had changed so much over the years, but we finally found it. Some of the changes made are now that you can't drive up as close to it as my father once did back in 1958. You had to park in a parking lot and walk a ways to get to the entrance of the cemetery. Once there, we spent a great amount of time trying to find the tombstone, and it all seemed hopeless till we finally found it, and when we did, it was nothing like it used to be. In the picture from 1958, you can see that there are 2 small shrubs on each side of it laterally, and in 1989, they were about 15 feet tall and much bigger. The tombstone over the years has changed several times, and the faces kept reappearing each time. In 1989, when I saw the tombstone, it was one that was hidden between shrubs, and the tombstone was very small, about 6 inches by 6 inches, and so small that there was no room for nothing, no faces anymore. And there are some pictures that were taken long ago in 1958, and you can tell it was a larger tombstone at the time. It looks like it's probably about 3.5 feet tall. I will insert those so you guys can see them. The little 6x6 tombstone that he's talking about that he had seen in 1989, I mean, that was 30 years ago. I don't know if shrubbery had overtaken it or it was removed, but I did not see it, so I'm not really sure what had happened to it. But I did want to share that with you guys before I closed out this video. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!